You're listening to Tapestry, a podcast by a music lover for a music lover. I'm your host, Kelly. Join me as I learn about the common thread that weaves throughout our lives, music. What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tapestry. This is now episode 24 of Tapestry, and I have a little bit of a special kind of episode for you this time. It is sort of unusual in the fact that not both of my guests are musicians. Only one of them is, and there's a reason for that. So today I sat down with Joshua Hartz, who's the vocalist of Pittsburgh-based punk industrial band God Hates Unicorns, but I also had kind of a special guest on top of that, who is a very, very, very nice guy, very talented painter too. His name is Zac Rutter. And these two guys actually have decided to team up for an event that's going to be on August 24th. I will go into a lot of detail about it in the episode, but I'm putting this one out ahead of some of my other guests because this is a time-sensitive thing. So they're going to tell you all about what this event is, on top of some other topics we got into, including how art and music are a documentation of culture, their thoughts on improving relations between visual and musical artists in Pittsburgh and beyond, and most importantly, why they are staging a battle of the bands this month to raise money for charity and how the event came to be. And I also wanted to mention our intro music for this episode is donated to us graciously by my friend Sikes. I was actually just on his podcast called Start the Beat, and is worth a listen. But this little intro music is from his hip-hop side project called Sikes and the New Violence. Also, it goes without saying that I like to get a little rowdy and swear in all my episodes, but we definitely cover some topics that are probably not safe for children. So if you're listening with your kids, maybe just make that decision on your own after you've already listened to it.
Keep them hidden in a drawer. I don't wanna be a lover, but I wanna be more than some text on the screen that you hear when you're bored. So go, walk away and powder up your nose. Just go. Yeah, I think I got a new plan. Hey yo, I think I'm gonna just go home and yo.
God. Okay, well, I guess we better start here. So, wow. I have two lovely gentlemen in front of me right now, and this is gonna be a really interesting podcast, I think, because like I was saying to Josh before we came upstairs, I have a visual artist and a musician, or as you like to say, Josh, I'm not a musician, I'm a vocalist, I guess, but I'll let you introduce yourself in a second. But yeah, we kind of have a duo episode here with Josh Hartz from God Hates Unicorns, and then Zac Rutter, who is a Pittsburgh-based painter and artist, and I'm going to let you two guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we can go from there.
You're going to have me take it away? Okay, so my name is Zac Rutter. I'm a Pittsburgh-based artist and muralist now. I've been recently getting into the mural game.
Stepping it up.
Yeah. I started a movement as well called the Spread Love Army, and the event we're going to be getting to soon enough is the first official Spread Love Army benefit fundraiser. So I'm excited to talk a little bit more about it, and I'm excited to work with my man Josh here, who's about to explain who he is and what he's from. So take it away.
Yeah, I'm here against my will. I think Zach kidnapped me to get over here. But I'm the singer from God Hates Unicorns, and we're doing this spread love thing, which is like I don't know, man. He's kind of a hippie about this kind of shit. But I'm with it. I think we'll have some fun, and we're also doing it's a versus series. We're gonna fight other bands and do some fun stuff.
It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be like it's gonna be a whole thing where we're trying to bring the art and the music together, for a whole crowd participatory event. So it's going to be pretty unique and pretty exciting. And I'm excited to work with him. We're both from West Mifflin. We went to West Mifflin High School, and the event actually is taking place at the Thompson Club in West Mifflin. So it's kind of a way for us to pay homage to our hometown, you know.
I grew up in Baldwin, so South Hills crew
cool.
right now.
I'm in Brentwood right now.
Oh, well, perfect. I can see myself turning right onto Beck's Run Road as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
So that's usually my little shortcut through the south side. But yeah, so Josh, actually, you were the one that reached out to me, and I think you said you found me through the Build the Scene thing. So shout outs to Bill from PA Rock Show and all that. But I am just so curious because I have two very disparate, personalities and like areas of the cultural scene in Pittsburgh here. How did you guys meet, and how did this whole relationship start?
So we were actually talking about this a little earlier. I actually met Josh in 2017 at Pints on Penn Is that Lawrenceville?
Yeah, I think it's closed now.
Yeah, it's no longer there anymore, but there was a birthday bash there through the Redfish Bowl, which is a local music art collective.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Josh there. We found out that we both went to the same high school, and he didn't even remember that when I brought it up, but we've actually met and worked together in a few other events. Most recently at Club Cafe, I live painted with Gold Castle.
I remember you there.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot more recent. That was St. Patty's Day this year.
Is it all coming back to you now?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older.
So I typically live paint with like musicians around the city, so I'm always constantly involved in the music scene and trying to do like the combination of live painting and music.
Right.
And the event that we have coming up is like our approach to make it like not the perfect thing, but like something very unique and very new. And I love the idea of collaborating and working with new artists and musicians.
So it was kind of a chance occurrence, because I was looking at your page today, Zach, about just like looking back and seeing what events you've done and just trying to do my research. And I did see that you did a show with God Hates Unicorns, and I was like, there has to be a story behind, like there has to be some crazy story about how a painter is going to meet up with a punk band. But I mean, Pittsburgh has such a scene where there's a lot of overlap between visual arts. And I didn't know about Red Fish Bowl, but like I just know there's so many theater things here. There's so many just like variety type deals. You can go to a show, you can go to an art gallery, you can go to just a bunch of things, and it's like you just really never know who you're going to run into, basically.
Bunch of hippies.
So I kind of want to split off, and I don't want to interview you separately. I'm interviewing you as a unit kind of, but I did want to get the history a little bit about each of you, kind of how you've gotten into your respective creative pursuits. So Josh, you sing for God Hates Unicorns, and you guys are the self-professed cutting-edge Pittsburgh dick rock.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So, and I know you mentioned the Butthole Surfers are, a big influence.
That was like an influence, kind of, but like that's what everyone says we kind of sound like in a way, but we all grew up listening to them, but like it never occurred to me until we started actually playing live, and I had a microphone stand in my hand, and I was acting like an asshole. But yeah, like Butthole Surfers, Fetus, like all of the old noise rock, punk, noise, industrial stuff was a big influence. But I was in an industrial band prior to this that we actually used to tour and stuff like that.
Oh, what band were you in then?
Debutante. It was
Okay.
it was like me and some chick. And
Some chick.
It's typically some chick.
I'm not gonna like name drop because that's not what this is about. I'm here for me, not her.
Screw
But
you, some chick.
Yeah, it's that
oh
type
no,
of chick.
no, it's not that kind of chick. No, I've been married for like 20 years.
Say what
so
kind of
no.
chick are we talking about here?
But like, like I was doing them before that. I was in an improv jazz band or a noise rock band, pretty much, called Skull Death Gut Corpse. That we we would like play with metal bands, but we'd trick them.
That sounds like a metal name.
They're like, oh, yeah, Skull Death Gut Corpse. We'll play with Skull Death Gut Corpse. I'm like, oh yeah. Well, we're gonna play the fucking trombone and we actually had a gas pipe we'd blow into it. It'd actually make the worst sounds you ever want to hear. And I remember we played shows like Leprosy and bands like that back in the day, like 15, 20 years ago. And we'd like make like a lot of heavy metal bands very uncomfortable. Which was always like, that's kind of neat. Like, how do you make that happen? How do you make death metal bands like, hey, what's this fucking weird? And like, so all that kind of like went into God Hates Unicorns, like having that kind of like weird aesthetic where it's like, it's kind of uncomfortable. I'm kind of an asshole. And like, it's just going to be like a weird experience. But now we're better now. We have a drummer and like, we're mainstream now.
Who are the other guys in your band? Are they like closer in age to you and sort of came from a similar scene?
They're older than me. They're a bunch of old fucks.
Okay.
No, they're like, we're on my age actually. The one guitarist he just left maybe 3 months ago, and then we got the two guys from Scratch, the band Scratch from Pittsburgh, the guitarist, singer from them, and the drummer from them.
So you just absorbed their entire band.
We absorbed their entire band, and we kept the God Hates Unicorns bass player. So now it's like more full and more like people like it more now because it's like not as like thrashy and like before it was just like an industrial project, industrial punk like. Guitarist, bass, singer, and like backing track that we would like work on the synth parts, but now it's like more oh, they have a drummer. They don't suck.
Well, I listened to
much the heart of the band.
I listened to the debut, and like I don't want to say I was like nervous to accept this interview, not at all, because I want to branch out and interview other musicians besides my bread and butter is kind of like progressive metal, that sort of thing. I know so little about punk. It's bad. And so I was asking friends, I'm like, I'm interviewing some punk guy today, and give me like the rundown on punk in like 30 seconds, and someone's like, just say the Sex Pistols. That's like my entire understanding of punk. So I've never
for that.
Well, I'll work on it. But so what is a God Hates Unicorns show like live? Because it's just not the music I'm drawn to, but
to say that we're punk though is like I say like we're industrial punk just because it's like an easier like we're like not simplistic but like straight to the point, but like we also have like synths and stuff going, so it's not just like a straight up like 3-chord punk song like that lasts a minute and a half. But punk is an attitude. Punk is like a fuck you thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm just here to like have some fun. We're gonna like oi 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 go into system and all that kind of shit. But it's also like
it's definitely a performance when you go to a God Hates
Okay,
Unicorns
yeah, I
show.
figured. Well, based on what you were saying about the gas pipe and the trombone, I interviewed 2 friends of mine on an earlier episode. They're in a Columbus-based like noise duo thing called Sun Trash, and they were kind of telling me that same thing. Like, it's not like intentionally subversive, but it kind of is. It's like, why play the same music everybody else does? Just go ahead and just do a bunch of weird shit, because why not? Basically. Yeah,
you want to like not do what people haven't done before, but like you want to like be in your own space. You want to like have some fun with it, like without like whenever we write songs, it's never like, hey, let's write this kind of like style of song. We've had like metal kind of songs, we've had punk songs. We're actually working on a fucking what do you call it, like a love song type of thing, like a
why not?
Like a ballad. Yeah, there's the word.
Is it
ballad.
about how God loves unicorns?
No, it's about a make-believe high school teacher that I didn't have.
Every
That's all
boy's
it is.
dream.
I
Yeah,
have to
we all
say-
want that one high school teacher.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's not a high school teacher. My second grade teacher.
Oh no.
Was she a West Mifflin teacher?
No, actually, I went to school in Munhall.
Okay.
I went to St. Teresa's.
Oh, okay. I did too, actually, for preschool then.
Some asshole nun slapping your knuckles with a ruler.
He would always get in trouble on purpose.
Yeah.
There's something about spanking that really turns this guy on.
Well, my pastor was on that list in Pittsburgh, so that's fun. Isn't it?
Oh, good.
If you want to
Well-
dial into that.
Well, that's a good segue to ask you then, is part of, I guess this could apply to both of you guys really, because you're making art, whether it's musical or visual, but is making art, making music, is it kind of a part of, rebellion against culture, or is it just like something that you've always felt drawn to just as a way to express yourself?
You want to take that, or you want me to take that?
It's up to you, buddy.
All right, I'll take it for a little bit. So I think with art as an aspect to culture, I think that art is a documentation of culture. I think when you're looking at paintings or music or things along that nature, those are people reacting to necessarily the culture around them. I think it's more of a reaction and a documentation rather than being rebellious or anything like that. It's the way that individual feels about culture. So, I mean, that's how I view my art. My art is my reaction to that.
Is that kind of like your mirror into society in a certain way? Okay.
A connection to society better.
I like that. I like that answer.
Musically, I think it's a little different, but it's still the same. Like you're regurgitating what you've taken in from your culture, and you're giving your take on it.
Right.
Whether through the lyrics or the music itself, like you've been taught certain things throughout your life. Like I grew up in a Catholic church, playing piano my whole life, and then all of a sudden in a band called God Hates Unicorns.
Yeah.
So it's hard to not see the parallel. Like, hey, is he just like lashing out? But at the same time, it's not a conscious thing.
Yeah.
It's more of like how it came to be, and like me being more of a cynic about it, because it's not really a conscious like anti-culture thing.
Yeah, it's just like how you're reacting to it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Like it's like God Hates Unicorns is just kind of funny to me. I don't think about God or unicorns. It's kind of like 0 divided by 0. But like you know, it just, but it's definitely a product of culture, if anything else.
I have to say, Josh, your band has really funny song titles, and my favorite one is "Chipped Ma'am."
You don't want to know what that's about.
Well, you can't say that on a
bit,
podcast, and then I don't get to just ask.
Okay, well,
You can't leave me hanging like
our old
that.
guitarist picked the name,
Okay.
and he thought, like he was researching like a lot of the Islamic states in the Middle East about how they circumcise women.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I had a feeling it might be something
So-
to do with that.
I did not think that
So-
at all.
No,
Wow.
it came out too early to be a reference to the guy in the GameStop.
Oh
No.
yeah, it was.
It's ma'am.
So they're not done. Like, so he like put, he gave me some lyrics to like, or like some ideas to work with, and I was like, no, I'm gonna do more of a humorous version of that.
Oh, no.
And it's not humorous at all, but it's trying to shed light on the situation. That's terrible.
Right.
Like, any mutilation of anybody is fucking horrible. But like, that's a specific one that's like, hey, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
And we're from Pittsburgh, so chipped ham, chipped ma'am. It's kind of funny.
Chip
Yeah.
ma'am.
But like, yeah, so like it has like, some pretty horrid lyrics. So we tried to distort it really bad so you can't really tell what I'm saying. But live you could hear word for word, and it's not like the prettiest thing you'll hear.
Well,
That just summarizes God Hates Unicorns.
Yeah,
This is not the
I'm-
prettiest thing you'll hear.
I'm
but-
so intrigued though. I have to say, like, whenever I listened to the album and stuff, like I said, I'm not a punk person, so I have kind of a limited wheelhouse of bands to compare you to without that really being my thing. But I kind of felt like it was a little bit of like Nine Inch Nails meets Oingo Boingo meets
I love Oingo Boingo.
Rammstein meets I
dig
think
all
I
that,
also
yeah.
mentioned Gigi Allen, but only because I'm assuming that you
I do shit on myself.
might spread shit around your body in or around places at a
I
performance.
think you're just saying that because you just saw me right now. Like, you just met me right now. Like, oh, he probably smeared shit on
guys,
himself.
if you could smell this podcast right now.
I'm fine with that.
No, I'm curious. I'll have to. Well, I will have to get out to this crazy event that we're going to talk about in a minute. But Zach, let me swing over to you and just tell me a little bit about how you became a painter. It seems like you primarily paint, but I'm an artist too, and like I've dabbled in a lot of different things. So how did you kind of land on painting, and when did you start doing that?
Okay, so well, I mean, it starts back in childhood. I not necessarily painting, art. If you look at any of the work that I make, there's comic books involved. I collage over top of comic books, and I got my first comic book when I was 7 years old, and not much after that, I started drawing the references to like Spider-Man and superheroes and things like that. And it wasn't until college actually that I started incorporating comic books into my artwork, where I'm like collaging them over top of canvases and using them as the backdrop with heavily diluted paints, and then you can still kind of see the comic books peeking through. So you're picking up multiple layers in the work, and I've been painting since about 2015, and
So
yeah,
you're pretty fresh at that.
yeah. I mean, I've always been into art. I've always been into experimenting and exploring different mediums. Like in high school, I had done a lot of like drawing and pastels and a little bit of freehand sculpture. But my senior year of college, I actually got my first opportunity to paint my high school mural at West Mifflin. I don't know if you were. You graduated in '99, so you weren't in the new school.
Yeah.
But
Now you're a muralist. Look how far you've come.
it's crazy to think. Like the first painting I ever did was my high school senior mural, which is just over top of the lockers in the senior hallway at West Mifflin. Like it's very, like this tiny little thing. I got to do that, and that's what kind of opened the door to the idea. It wasn't a very good painting looking back on it now, but like it wasn't until college that I even picked up a brush again after that. So like that was like the last few months of senior year of high school, and then it wasn't until like the end of freshman year, early beginning sophomore year that I started painting. And it's been something that I've been doing every day of my life since then. And
I'm really surprised to hear that, because I looked at your stuff, and to me it has a very distinctly like pop art kind of vibe.
definitely.
And I figured you might have just been like, oh, I've loved Andy Warhol since I was a kid or something.
Not
but-
even Andy Warhol, his proteges, Keith Haring, Jean-Michel Basquiat. I looked more into like that contemporary, later pop artist, even Roy Lichtenstein, which is around the same time as Andy Warhol. But I mean, you can't avoid Andy Warhol in the art field. I mean, it doesn't
especially
matter.
in Pittsburgh.
Especially
it's
in
impossible.
Pittsburgh, yeah. So it's like I appreciate what he had done, and I've seen his accomplishments. And I do have an art history minor, so I do study art history, and I look at how people have done things, and I have researched Andy Warhol's rise and whatever you would want to say. But like I've looked at how he did his things, but I don't necessarily like the things that he had done. You know, I appreciate what he did, and I also see how he affected art in like such a huge way. You know, he kind of made it more of a business rather than for expression. And I mean, I take those same lessons in the way that I approach my artwork as well. But I definitely want my artwork to be more emotion based. I want it to kind of connect to people and bring people together. And that's what I love about the collaborative aspects of everything that I've been doing recently, bringing music and art together. It's always about bringing people together.
Right. Well, I looked up kind of not your actual resume, but just seeing some of the stuff you've done in and around the city, and you've gotten to do some really cool stuff. You got to paint one of the Port Authority buses, I guess, and then do some of the Healthy Ride Pittsburgh bikes. So it was one Port Authority bus. I know a lot of people keep asking me, "Yeah, hey, how many buses you got out there? How many buses you got out there?" Yeah, a bus.
It wasn't even any. I didn't even paint it. It was actually. It's funny enough because in college I had failed a digital media class, but I was actually able to design the design of the Port Authority bus on Photoshop. So
nice.
It's funny to think that like this thing that I had failed out or flunked out of in school that I thought would have changed my life. Yeah,
a bus.
Yeah, so I got to do a digital design that I had submitted to Port Authority, and they had vinyl wrapped it based off the digital design. So I had no physical help with the bus whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was actually a very simple process. I couldn't believe how, like, one day they're like, yeah, we'll make this bus happen, and then a week later, or not even, it was actually a lot longer than that. A couple months later, they're like, so the bus will be done by the end of the week. And then that Tuesday, I got a photo from the first person that saw it on the streets. They didn't even tell me it was finished.
Oh, did they?
It was a random person that saw the bus that tagged me on Instagram.
Okay. Oh, well, so did they actually recognize it as your work? Because it has, like, your little spread, what is it, Spread Love Army
The
thing.
Spread Love Army heart is on the side of it. If you look at the base of the bus, it has my website, Zac Rutter Art,
nice.
And it does say hashtag Spread Love Bus. So that was one cool opportunity. The bike, the Healthy Ride bike that I got to do, I did hand paint.
Didn't they let you guys actually like design the bikes, or
yeah.
How does that pass safety standards? Not doubting your bike building abilities.
No. We didn't design the actual shape and structure of the bike.
Figured they'd give you some kind of creative.
They gave us honestly, it was a competition that they did in the city. So I saw someone who's actually involved with the event we have going on August 24th, Chris Valpini of Louis Castle and the Rooks, he's the bass player, had Facebook messaged me this competition for the Healthy Ride bikes and said, hey, thought of you should try it, check it out.
Yeah.
That same night I did my email write-up and my proposal. I did a simple little bike sketch, and then lo and behold, I was one of the 5 selected to paint the bike.
They only picked 5 people, and I'm like, what the heck? Like,
I don't know how many people applied. I don't know how many people they had researched and reviewed, but I was very excited to get the email saying that I was selected to be one of the artists.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then PPG Paints supplied all of the paints, and we got to go to their facilities up in Allison Park and paint right on PPG's lot. It was so cool. It was really, really cool.
Man, that's awesome. Like, I'm just assuming you're probably younger. Like, are you like late 20s?
I'm 24.
20. Oh wow. Okay. So that's
late
so interesting.
20s on you.
That's
yeah.
all right, baby.
So it's just like
because I'm so mature.
It's cool. It's just cool to see that there's like, young people doing really cool things out in the city, and you're just kind of carving your own space. And then there's people who've been doing this forever who are like just not settling for doing the same old shit anymore, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna go grab this fresh painter dude and make something really cool happen.
No, she called me old.
It's not even that. I had no idea how old Josh was when I had met him.
He did not say explicitly, but I mean,
yeah, but I just seen him at Red Fishbowl events. It's honestly Red Fishbowl that kind of is one of the ones that I've gotten the opportunity to meet so many different creatives in the city, different musicians, different artists, different this or that, poets, things like that, and that's how a lot of this stuff has been able to happen.
Yeah.
That I've been able to do in my life.
Pittsburgh's for sure a very collaboration happy city. There's a lot of like cross-cultural stuff.
It hasn't always been like that. I feel like like just recently we've been starting to get so open to like, yo, let me support you if you support me type of thing.
Yeah, and I mean Pittsburgh's always been fairly liberal and kind of like a cooperative type of place. I think it's become a home for so many different types of people, and I think that's pretty crucial to supporting not only an active art scene but an active music scene. And I think it's great what you guys are doing, but what would both of you like to see more of then, I guess, in Pittsburgh in terms of getting how would you try to pitch to community members to get more involved in both aspects?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I think stepping out of your comfort zone. Like, that's kind of what we're doing for this event. Like, and we're talking about, like, we have this one in August, we have one in October, and we're talking about doing more in the future. Us not even being involved, just like throwing the event.
Yeah, like planting that seed.
Getting out of your
others.
clique of the
Definitely.
bands and artists who only do shows with their friends.
It's not even the bands and artists, but more so the venues even. You
Yeah.
know, like we got lucky enough to get this venue, the Thompson Club in West Mifflin. Which
Do they normally host like bands and stuff? Or
I've
is it,
had
like,
shows there before, but
Okay.
Yeah.
it's not a common
low
like.
key music, like local stuff, definitely. But this is the first time we've actually tried to do something to where it's like, let's get as many people as possible. To
Yeah,
this
we're
spot.
getting like donations, like big, like a bigger thing. Like where it's like, let's grab a couple bands and play the Thompson Club. Now it's like, no, we're gonna make an event at the
Right.
Thompson
Yeah,
Club.
definitely.
Yeah, you guys mentioned that. Did you secure the Ronald McDonald House?
Oh yeah,
thing?
it's
Okay.
yeah.
So that's an official.
That's an official thing.
benefactor.
Yeah,
of,
I had to go ahead and apply and send them all the information. They sent me the official logos that I use in the flyers, so they're 100% on board. I'm even trying to line it up to where I can come to the Ronald McDonald Foundation and live paint for the families that are staying there. And if you guys don't know, the Ronald McDonald House and Foundation, I originally thought it was something involving orphans and things like that, where for kids that don't have homes, but it's actually about the families of sick kids that need treatment in specific areas, and they actually open up these homes so that the parents can be by the sick children in their time of need when they need them the most. So the donations and everything that we're trying to raise goes towards helping those families stay close to their children in their time of need. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited that they were very open to work with us. They're very excited about this event, and we do want to make it a regular event. Not necessarily always working with Ronald McDonald Foundation, but always constantly working with a local communal organization and nonprofit to try and make something good out of it.
What made you guys choose that one in particular?
Well, me and Josh had talked it over about the idea. Like initially, we were just like, let's do a cool event, and then I was kind of like, I do this thing with the Spread Love Army, trying to make a movement where it's like just all about love and good and happiness, which is this whole modern hippie thing that Josh keeps bringing up. But it's not that far off. It's not that bad of an idea, So we kind of just joked about the idea of getting some type of nonprofit involved. We were looking in something with children, something local, something reputable, and Ronald McDonald House just was right there in my face. It was it was obvious. And then when I called down to them, immediately spoke with a real human being that is from the area, that lives in Pittsburgh, that was more than willing to listen to what I had to say, and said, if you apply the same day, we'll approve it the same day. So
that's awesome.
within the week, we had all of the logos and everything we needed from Ronald McDonald Foundation.
I ran merch for a friend's band recently at this like veterans benefit thing, and I think there's just a lot of challenges faced with benefactor type of charity shows, and it's like you don't want it to soil the nature of the event. I mean, it's actually supposed to be the main focal point, but I think a lot of times those events just suffer from lackluster promotion, even though that cause should be like front and center. So I mean, I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. I'm going to try to get this episode edited and out the door so I can share it everywhere, because I think it's a great idea. But I like doing this multiple times, trying to keep working and building it towards a regular occurrence. I mean, has there been any response from other, I don't even know what you would call it, like other local volunteers or other community members who are like in activism, in charity work, or are you guys still kind of under the surface right now?
Every band I've talked to about like the setup of the show loves it, like how we're doing it, like it's but not so much as far as the charity stuff, but I think that will solve itself. I think if we could actually make a good venue, make a good event.
I wouldn't even say that necessarily. I mean, we are also planning on having a basket raffle, and we've had local breweries and different like local companies be willing to donate baskets to us. Like Yankee Candle is going to donate a nice
fancy
basket. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Rock Bottom Brewery, Blue Dust. There's a lot of local area like groups in.
And we're gonna try to keep it. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep it for the first one or two. Like keep it in that area where we're having the event. So it's like, hey, come out to this area. Win a gift card, and you could like bar crawl throughout Homestead, and hopefully
definitely
not spend a dime, and give money to charity.
Yeah, for sure.
Like-
So like it seems like the community is very excited about the idea. Like our high school has reached out to me saying that they're very
cool.
excited about it. So some of the some of the
Yeah.
teachers and faculty at West Mifflin have also talked about it. I know that the high school is going to be kickstarting again on August 17th, so that gives them a week to promote for the event. So maybe we'll get some local parents and things like that out. And
You're gonna have the inevitable angry moms like, I can't let my kid go to a show with God hate unicorns.
That's what I hope.
we have a nice variety.
undo the brainwashing.
That's my dream.
Yeah. So who else is playing on the show?
So another West Mifflin alumni is Louis Castle and the Rooks.
Okay.
Luis Castillo is the lead singer, and he graduated, I think, a year or two after I had. So, I mean, we got a nice broad spectrum of West Mifflin alumni involved with the music and art. So that we got them. We've got, just as of today, the Moat Rats, which is a local,
I have heard
local
of them,
group.
yeah.
They're phenomenal. Carly's vocals, the lead singer, she's beautiful. It's going to be a really good time. Siren Reed is a local musician as well that's going to be going up against Louis Castle. So it's going to be Sikes versus the Moat Rats, Louis Castle versus Siren Reed, God Hates Unicorns versus Sacha Miranda. And we got the 6 lined up for the first one.
So tell me more about that structure. When Josh told me about this, I was like very intrigued, because the only time I've had any exposure to like a live painting with music thing was I don't think it was you, Zach, but I saw Consider the Source with Felix Martin and somebody else at James Street Gastropub.
James Street
and
is so awesome.
and it was like really chill and really low key, because both of those bands are like kind of jazz fusion. They're just like real chill, real groovy.
That was the whole vibe at James Street.
Yeah,
for sure.
and,
that wasn't me live painting. Unfortunately.
No, they just had a guy sitting in the back.
Until I called the cops on him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, was it you?
That was me.
Complaining about the noise.
And I'm over in Brentwood just calling the cops on freaking James Street in North LA.
Lies.
I can't hear you, but I know you're too loud right now. No, but
I hear you, Kevin.
they had a painter in the back corner, and like I just felt like it improved the whole event so much. It was like so cool, because everybody was like going to get refills on their drinks, go check out merch, because James Street upstairs is so small. It's only like a 12-foot by 12-foot space. So you're kind of like making your rounds, and you're like checking in on the painter, just seeing what they're like interpreting, what they're working on.
It gets the crowd more involved, and that's what this whole experience is about, is crowd participation. The whole show and the winner of the night, it's the whole Versus series, is all based off of crowd participation. So that's why we want a good turnout. The way it's going to work, so like I've worked those like local shows where the artist is in the back.
Yeah, they're just kind of sitting in a corner.
I'm more of a rock star type of guy. Like I like live painting on stage with the bands. Like I typically work with Gold Castle, which is Louis Castle of Louis Castle and the Rooks, and Louis Goldwater, who is now a lead guitar player for Abstract Theory, which is a local rap duo. And I typically work with them and do on stage live action, live painting with the bands. And like I like this whole rock star approach, and we're trying to make this like rock star boxing like 4-corner type of thing with the live painter aspect. So there's gonna be 4 painters that are all gonna be live painting in each corner, and then 2 stages that are gonna divvy up the bands.
Okay.
Or it'll be like 2 bands playing in the same set.
Yeah, the live painter's going all night.
Like an hour set. One band on one side, one band on the other side. Every 2 songs, or say 10 minutes. Alternate.
Yeah.
And then with
So we'll be
like
going simultaneously,
with shit talking and like,
hopefully, yeah. We want this to really be like a battle type of thing, like the Versus series played out in a fun
there's no like real
camaraderie
we're
type
gonna
of
have
way.
like baskets for like donations to determine a winner of the set, but there's no real like winner or loser. It's more or less like just having some fun, like talking some shit, playing your set.
Yeah, it's all based off bragging
going back and
rights.
forth. And I know when I go to shows sometimes, like even if a band that I like, especially like I don't say the word local, I'll say Pittsburgh bands that I like. Because local's a dirty word to me.
Why?
Because like when you say the word local, you kind of almost sound like you're like they're lesser than.
Right.
Every band
appreciate that.
band was a local band before.
Right.
So I'm gonna say Pittsburgh bands.
Fair enough.
I appreciate
because
that.
that's the way it is. Because like you put your description, I'm a local band from Pittsburgh.
That stains your reputation.
Yeah, you're a Pittsburgh band. Everyone's a fucking local band from somewhere.
I'm a Pittsburgh-based artist for sure.
Like,
I really like that a lot.
Yeah, someone's local to where they're from.
Yeah.
No matter how big or small they are.
Man, that really does kind of demean. It's kind of more derogatory than anything. I totally agree.
Local's a very dirty word. You should never say it. Call them a Pittsburgh band.
I'll bleep that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like make it a swear word.
Yeah, but like, so like you have like these Pittsburgh bands, and like you want to have them like fight each other. You want to have them like have a good time, but you want to have you I go to like these like Pittsburgh shows, and like if a band I like, I've seen a whole bunch of times, in the area. I get not bored, but like it's like time for a cigarette or time for to grab a beer. You have that.
Right.
But so like especially in a 45-minute hour set, which is way too long for any
especially on like a
Pittsburgh
weeknight or
band to
something,
play
yeah.
on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But the change it up a little bit where it's like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then have like a almost like a argument or like a fight going on between these two bands might be a kind of a fun thing. It might be a kind of a cool way to change up the show aesthetic.
You definitely picked a good person having Sikes there, because I saw him do a Battle of the Bands with Grey Walker. It was like Grey Walker, Gator Shakes. They had some other band from Michigan that was in town, and like it does really change the vibe, because it's, even though that it's not really a battle, it's because
you're there to represent your team,
Yeah, it's like really like what is music is subjective, art is subjective. Nobody's gonna win the night.
Yeah.
Really, the
And
only
that's what I
winner
love about
is
it.
the charity. It's like who can get the most donations.
Exactly.
That's
I think the promo would be the most fun. Like I wanted like Facebook Live videos, like weigh-ins. Like shit like that,
like press releases,
where
or
yeah,
we're
like
talking
where
smack a little
like
bit,
where it'll be
yeah.
kind of fun, like photos where it's like we like release like promo pictures of like
or
bands
you do
versus
have all the band members with like their little old timey pugilists like
Yeah.
with
We
gloves
want
on
that.
shit.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
awesome.
exactly what we have.
like I think that'd be hilarious. Like just even like band goes on Instagram Live or Facebook Live and just like talk. Like we're facing Sachem, my buddy Sachem Miranda at the show. I'm gonna go like probably like tomorrow after I put like the list of bands who are playing. I'm gonna go on Facebook Live and talk shit. Like
Right?
you're going down, motherfucker. Like it's gonna go like
We
like,
want the
that's what-
bragging rights to mean something, and we have another one lined up in October as well, where there's a lot of local bands that have already shown interest in this as well. So
Oh,
we
that's
want
good.
this to be a growing thing where it's
Yeah.
like, yes, you won the Versus series this time. Like the way that the winner is declared, he kind of mentioned a little bit. We're gonna have buckets that have the names of each artist involved, and you donate to the band that you like, you donate to the painter that you like, and whichever bucket at the end of the night has the most money is declared the winner.
Well,
of the
they'll
painting.
they'll be second place since I'm helping run the show. God Hates Unicorns will always be first place.
So I think Josh said he's
after
going to
that-
match any donation, right? Is that what you just said? You're going to match any donation so that God Hates Unicorns wins the...
The shit talking starts now on this episode.
That's what I didn't even think about cross-pollinating the shit talk. Can painters shit talk bands? And
I think
bands
you should.
paint
Painters
like
can
shit talk
absolutely
I'm gonna-
shit talk bands.
Hey, motherfucker!
Hey, I'm an
I love
artist.
this
I'm
idea.
an artist,
I
and
love
I can shit talk. That's for sure.
I have a wireless mic, dude. I'll be painting your painting while I'm singing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Now, with the live painting aspect, are you kind of like doing your best to interpret what the fuck is going on to your left, or is it just sort of whatever you feel like,
I want to leave it up to the artist. Like I have my set style, and like the three other artists we have involved are Steve Pierce, Brendan Donovan, and Nikki Bacon, who are all three very well-known local Pittsburgh artists, not necessarily local. Well, we bleep that out now, but they all have their own styles, and I want that to bleed through, and that's why we're not trying to auction the paintings off, because you don't necessarily know who's going to want to auction and buy a painting, and if the price is so high, no one wants to get involved. That's why we're doing this bucket thing, where it's like, if you bring your following out, you'll raise the money because they're there to support you, and
Right.
you want that bragging rights to benefit someone good. It's like a good way of like doing something good and kind of putting yourself out there without too much of a risk, And at the end of the night, if the painting isn't finished, no worries. If the painting doesn't sell, no worries. You sell it and do what you want with that money. Like the money that we're gonna raise for Ronald McDonald comes from the bucket donations, and that's how the winners are declared. So whatever the artist wants to do with the painting, if they want to keep it, they want to sell it, they want to keep the money, they want to donate some of the money, whatever they want to do, that's up to them. Same
Right.
with the bands. Like bands can sell merch, they can sell CDs, whatever they want to sell, that's for them. The buckets is where the money comes in, and the buckets are how the crowd gets to participate.
Right, that's kind of up to the audience at that point.
Yeah,
like,
the
here's
audience
how successful.
are very important to the whole thing.
Yeah, like here's how successful I want to make the event, basically.
Yeah.
We'll also have like in the buckets, so like a music bucket where like local Pittsburgh bands will. I almost cut my mistake. We'll like donate like CDs, T-shirts, stickers, whatever they want, and I'm reaching out to a whole bunch of people. And like, same with artists. Like, if if they want to donate anything, let us know. Like, we could, put it in the art bucket and
definitely.
and like, auction it off, because I already have some interest in that for the artist bucket. Like, so we'll have that as well, where you could get artwork and music and T-shirts and stuff like that in the raffles.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's I feel like there's just a cultural shift lately with, I've talked about this on previous episodes, there's kind of a two-part thing. Like, one, bands don't, I don't know, there's not this allure of like touring. Like, you aren't going to get the Led Zeppelins and the Metallicas anymore that just go on these, the stadium bands. Like, it just feels like the culture has shifted to, I'll go out and see a couple shows, but it's very hard to make a living off of that. So there's that part, but then two, we've all kind of shifted into this digital culture, and it just sounds like with the two of you collaborating, you're sort of emphasizing like, here's the physical, here's the shared experience. Like, is any of that in response to that, or is it just kind of how you work?
I actually like the digital now. Like, I'm one of the older people that people talk to, like, hey, I like the digital, like, as far as music goes, because I could listen to so much more stuff now,
right,
that I could never before. Now, on the compensation part of that, it's a little different.
Yeah, that's the
unfortunate
part.
That's a little different. But like, as far as a consumer, like, I love it. And like, I've talked to people like local Pittsburgh bands who are like putting out like vinyls or cassettes and this and that, and that's the only way they're doing it. I'm like, holy shit, you don't want anyone to listen to that?
Yeah, I know, you're really cutting off.
If that's all you're putting out is like a vinyl or a CD or like a tape, no one's gonna hear it but you're like 10 friends who have that.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, on a more broad thing, yeah, I like the actually person to person. I like the actual, like a big event. I like, the old school way of doing things, but I can't like discredit like the new school way of like how we could, see art and hear art, and that's kind of important too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think the way that I see like cassettes and CDs and vinyls anymore is it's another part of the merch. It's like this, it's equivalent to buying a band tee. Like, oh, I could listen to this for free on YouTube or SoundCloud or Spotify, whatever it is that you listen to. But now I have this physical thing.
Right.
And a lot of the times when I will support local musicians as often as Pittsburgh musicians as often as I can. I'm coming back to John. But
I know.
It's a whole thing now. I do want to bleep it out. I totally agree with the whole Pittsburgh thing. But like, when I get a Pittsburgh CD, I typically try and let the musician sign it, because like now it's a part of that merch. Like I've got a Brittany Chantel CD that I just recently purchased for $10. Like $10 is nothing in the grand scheme of things, and it's autographed. So when she blows up and becomes famous,
she will. Holy hell, she freaking will.
Oh, I know it. And I got a BB Gun CD as well. And anytime I work with these musicians, I try and at least get like something from whoever I'm around.
He doesn't have a God Hates Unicorn CD, and we have them.
We're waiting for the God Hates Unicorn t-shirts.
I have him in my fucking trunk. As well as t-shirts.
So when's Zach gonna paint the next album cover for
right?
That's what I'm talking about. He just showed me some other artist artwork today, and I was low key offended.
But how awesome was it though? It's pretty fucking awesome.
It was great. Yeah.
It's
Do you want to talk about it? Yeah, talk about it.
It's Jesus riding a unicorn.
Of course.
While simultaneously slitting his throat.
It is
like
it is so perfect. What was the artist's name again? Shout him out.
Chad Rayner.
Chad Rayner.
Well done, Chad.
That was
You've managed to offend everyone.
That was very insecure about his name.
Yeah, not 100%.
Chad Rayner.
But he showed me
no,
today,
it's definitely his name, Chad Rayner.
Phenomenal. That is so funny.
But yeah, like.
How do I even follow that up with a question? I wanted to ask you guys both of this. Do either of you have a really like particularly positive standout moment from when you were singing on stage or when you were painting a painting and a fan came up to you or something? Do you have like a defining moment that really has just kept you going?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I wonder if it's the same one I'm thinking of, Zach. I know you got your painting of Mac Miller signed by Mac Miller.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's not even what I was considering, but that was like a life-changing moment for me.
That's pretty awesome.
I was 19 at the time, and I was a sophomore in college, and I went up to see him in Edinburgh. And my whole intention was to give him this painting of his face.
Yeah.
You know, at 19, you don't think like, oh, 1 million people have already done that. So I'm like oh, Mac is going to love this painting. This is going to be the best painting he's ever seen. He's going to take it. He's going to hang it in his living room or in his bathroom or whatever. And like, I took it to him and he didn't want anything. Like, he very politely was like, yeah, I'm gonna sign this and I'd rather you have it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but in the back of my mind, I was low-key 19 years old and offended. Like, wow.
Mac
Miller
doesn't want my painting on his tour bus.
Seriously. Then after everything that had happened with that, you know, I was very sad. That was a very dark part in my life. But looking back at that painting, I'm so thankful and so grateful that he gave me that opportunity. You know, like, as a 24-year-old looking back at a 19-year-old, I was like, man, I was so dumb. I can't that moment that he had where he could have taken it and did whatever the hell he wanted with it. It probably wouldn't have been where I thought it was going to be, you know. Instead, he was like, you take this. And then it does say, thank you, Mac Miller, right on the cheek of it. And it's hung up in my living room to this day.
Oh, that's awesome. You're going to cherish that forever.
For sure. But, like, as of recently, I had that defining moment where I was actually at a Permante's. Shout out Permante's because I eat it at all of them. I'm trying to hit every Permante's that I can get to, you know?
Well, you're, I don't know which direction you head home, but there's the one in Harmerville.
I may have to try the one in Harmerville.
Yeah.
I've hit a lot of them, but I was just recently at the one on Carson Street, and someone was walking past and saw me in the window and literally came up to me just to get a photo with Zac Rutter, the painter.
What?
And I was like blown away. His name's Dom. Shout out Dom. You made my whole life. I couldn't even, I literally looked at him. I was like, you're fucking with me. Like I know you're fucking with me. Like, who paid you to do this? And then he's like, no, man, I'm a big fan of your paintings. Got a photo with me. I gave him. I always give out Spread Love stickers. I have the Spread Love heart stickers, which I'll give you guys them at the end of the night.
Oh, sweet! I'll put one on my laptop.
For sure. And I always give them away for free. That's my whole thing. That's how the message of the Spread Love Army gets spread, is through these stickers. And I have no problem paying the money to have them made to give them away for free. And that's the introduction to meeting me. You know, every time I meet somebody, I'm like, let me give you a sticker and then let's talk. You know, like, and like the fact that this guy came off the street, that was that defining moment where I was like, oh man, like whoa, like I couldn't believe that just happened. I was starstruck at that.
Did he meet you at like Three Rivers Arts Festival or something, or just
he's an online fan. He didn't mention if he had met me before, but he had said that he follows me online and is a big fan of the artwork.
That's sweet.
Has his picture in your basement.
Maybe.
He has a shrine to you with candles and your portrait.
I didn't get that vibe, but if he does, message me. I'll send you some more photos.
He clipped a piece of your hair off at Permante's and he has it in a vial that he wears around his neck.
Oh man, maybe. I don't think so.
Sorry, Dom. I've besmirched your character and I've never met you.
I like your art.
You know, hey, this is a very awkward moment, but I'm going to actually take this moment to go ahead and say I did bring you a present as well. That's why I got this backpack. I know that you guys may not have, I didn't know if you did your research or not, but I did want to bring you a little painting that I did.
No way!
Yeah. So I do a whole series of artwork called Spaceships, where I paint little like sailboats or pirate ships or battleships in outer space, and it's like a whole little punny thing where I try and like make a fun little play on words with it. So I did a little simple basic thing on top of some comic books of a golden sailboat in outer space.
It's freaking badass. It's like the size of a piece of paper, and he's handing it to me right now, and it's awesome.
Yeah, so
I will post a picture of this in the body of the episode and
I'm
stuff.
so excited. Yeah.
I might make this the episode cover actually, if you don't mind.
That's
awesome. So sweet.
I do a whole series of sailboat paintings, and like some of them are more elaborate and much larger, and some smaller. And the whole idea is that we're all steering our own ships through time and space, and I'd rather you steer your ship in a positive direction.
My ex, actually, God love her, she that was always her favorite poem. I forget who wrote it. It might be a Kipling poem. I can't remember, but it's the one like, I'm the captain of my own fate. Like only, essentially, and that was like always a phrase that she kind of took with her, and it's kind of since come back to me. Like, you know, you're the only person that can sort of control what you want to do in your life, and I love it. Do you give those out to like friends and just make them for people randomly? Like, do you always have a backpack full of paintings? Yeah, Josh is feeling all dejected over here.
So this one, I got the opportunity, like your whole podcast is about music and stuff like that. So like I actually did a little bit of street performing with Louis Castle of Louis Castle and the Rook. So like me and him have a great friendship. You've name dropped him a bunch.
I got to check him out.
Yeah, no, he's phenomenal. Me and him have been friends for a good while now, but we actually did a little bit of busking in the city of Pittsburgh for a few days. It was about a week's long span of time. where he was going out with his guitar, and I'm carrying an easel strapped to my back with canvases, and we did a lot of live painting, live performing on the streets of Pittsburgh, 6th Avenue, Burlington, outside of Carnegie Library, and the one that I'm giving you is actually one that we did right outside of the Carnegie Library.
I'm gonna hang it right up above my desk.
Oh, that's awesome.
For
that's
sure.
Awesome. So the whole idea is I love my art being an experience. I like live painting with bands, live painting in public settings, because not only are you seeing the artwork, but you're involved in the artwork. You're a part of that experience. And a lot of the artwork that I do, I don't even have a plan until I get there. I kind of base it off the environment that I'm around.
Does music inspire you to paint at all?
Definitely.
Okay.
That's what I love doing, the live painting thing, because the energy that you get from a live music performance while you're live painting, it's otherworldly. It's like this whole thing where you kind of just feel like you're involved in something greater than yourself, and that's what I love about art and music and the two coming together.
Right. Now, before I touch back on that, Josh, I want to let you answer that. Kind of, what was did you have a very defining positive moment that will always stick out in your brain?
I have two. One was one of my earlier bands, Skull Out the Corpse, the fake metal band.
The fake metal
He
band.
showed up to our first performance where we actually were playing the gas pipe, and I was playing out of bass with a trombone over me.
Because why not?
Yeah.
I play trombone too, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I was first chair throughout high school in West Mifflin.
Bro, me too. Were you in marching band?
Yeah, of course.
We probably battled each other at some point.
Yeah, because
we weren't in high school at the same time.
When I was in high school, we're like number 1 or 2 in the state.
Yeah.
We were like performing everywhere, and I was like, you show up and you show up at band camp in like August, and you're like passing out, and because they had made us wear the whole cotton shit.
Oh yeah, wool uniforms.
Yeah.
And fucking devil.
And so my dad came to our first Skull Out the Corpse performance, and he was terminally ill at the time, and also hard of hearing, and he still covered his ears.
Oh no!
And I was like, that's a defining moment in my musical life, and I was very proud of it, honestly. I thought it was kind of funny.
He still showed up.
He showed up, and you couldn't barely hear it, but what he could hear, he couldn't take. So that was, and the other one for the God Hates Unicorns thing was we played a show with One Eyed Doll at Mr. Small's, and it was an all ages show, which is not recommended for our band, but it still was. And we were signing albums for little kids after the show.
Oh, boy.
That's hilarious.
And they loved us. They were like, we loved leopard print pants and not Chip Mam so much. They didn't mention that one, but they mentioned other ones that were more, I guess, family friendly.
Yeah.
A family friendly God Hates Unicorn.
Because I guess the band actually has a song called Unicorn or something where kids came to the show with unicorn
horns just on their head.
And when I first got there, I was like, wow, we're fucking popular.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, no, we're not.
That's hilarious.
And then, but nevertheless, after the show, we're tearing down, and people are coming up to us like, hey, can my kid get a picture with you and sign your album? Like, did they hear what I just fucking said? And they're like, yeah, sure.
And I felt that same way when I met Josh initially at the Pints and Pen show. When I met this man, he had unicorn leggings on and a white fur coat. So they have a presence about them that makes you feel like, man, these guys are something. Definitely.
Have you guys ever played with the Pittsburgh band? I always think this is hilarious. They have two names. When they're in a family-friendly sitting, there are the God, I'm apparently drunk because I can't pronounce words. Let me start this over. When they are in a family-friendly setting, they are the Flying Dutchman, but when they're not, they're the Bloody Seamen.
Oh no!
Yeah, I saw them.
I've heard them before.
Yeah, I saw them at Altar Bar. God bless that venue
R.I.P.
is no longer.
Are they still around?
I think they are because I saw a sticker of theirs somewhere or a poster or something really weird, but I just always thought that has to go over so strangely, bringing kids to that show when you're called the Bloody Seaman. I got spit on by their guitarist. He was he drank beer and spritzed it out into the stage. I'm like, okay,
there's only so many offensive bands in Pittsburgh you could put up with.
Well, you guys are cornering the market on that, I guess.
We're trying to there's a few other ones that were not on our heels, but her doing their own thing, and But I think we're like on our own market. I think we could do it. I think we could be the most hated band in Pittsburgh.
That's the
and
goal.
we're actually
the most hated band
and we're
that
not trying
raises
to-
events for charity and supports local art. Fuck you guys.
And we're not trying to be. It's more like happenstance. Like we think everything we do is funny, just nobody else does.
That's what I love about these guys. That's why they're going to be so well for this Versus series. It's like
Oh, I'm gonna be perfect for
they
that
were
shit.
born to shit talk. You
Yeah.
know, let's at least do the shit talking for something good this time.
Yeah.
You know?
Love it.
Yeah, because like the whole charity thing is not really true. I'm actually keeping all the money.
Oh yeah, is that right? Don't be spreading that now.
No, I'm just kidding. It's all going to charity. It's all going for the Ronald McDonald Foundation. It's gonna be great, and we're looking forward to that.
No, that's good stuff. It's just funny hearing you guys talk, the way you like interact with each other, and how different yet similar you are. I think it's fantastic.
We're becoming friends, but we're very vastly different. Like, as far as like his art and my music, we're like we're like in your face assholes, and he's like spreading love.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's kind of like a whole,
opposites
it's
attract.
but it's also like it's a professional thing. It's like we're trying to do something cool, and it's mutual respect,
Right.
and like I think it will all work out in the end. Like I think with his people and our people, I think that could be a good marriage, or it could be a fight in a parking lot after the show.
Yeah.
Who
We'll
knows?
figure it out.
Yeah, you have to come by and check it out.
Yeah, show up August 24th to find out if it's gonna be
Yeah.
a fist fight in a parking lot or
No,
like
I want to
or a
promote
hug.
this because this is
Can't
so
tell.
this is so goofy, but I want it to work so much because
That's
it's
what I
just
love.
so
We want this to be a regular
it's
thing.
something different. Because I mean, I go to tons of shows. I'm going to one tomorrow. Eugene and I are traveling to Indianapolis for a show this weekend. I mean, we drive everywhere for shows, and like I get the rush of seeing live music, but at a certain point, yeah, okay, you see the same bands over and over again, and it's like there is a certain repetition to go show up, drink a beer, chat with your friends, watch a band play, and then go home.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool that there's something a little different being kind of injected into that.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what we're
back and forth. Like if you go outside for a cigarette or go grab a beer, you might miss something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's actually funny or like entertaining or whatever. You actually might miss something in the set because it's like not a normal thing that people do. Because like usually everyone practices their set when they're in their band, like, well, this is where I make that stupid joke, or this is where I'm like introduce the band, or whatever the hell you're gonna do. No, this is all different. And it's gonna be on the spot because we're gonna be flipping a coin who's going first.
Oh, nice.
So you can't even prepare who's going first for this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on the spot. Pick your songs, go from there, and like, it will be very, very fun, and just the way like it's gonna work out because you're not gonna know what you're gonna hear. You might hear some shit you shouldn't say, or
I kind of hope.
oh, you will.
Yeah.
When we
No.
play, you're gonna hear some shit you should not say.
If this is a success, when it is a success, let me manifest your destiny here. When
Thank
it is
you,
a
thank
success, like what would be the end all be all for this? Like in 5 years, what do you think you would want to be doing at that point?
Retiring.
For him, this old man over here is ready for his ARP card. But me, on the other hand, I want the Spread Love Army. This is a whole movement I started with my artwork. We're trying to put an end to the war on hate through love and peaceful conversation. But this is the first official time. Yeah, it's very hippie. I know
sign.
she put up a peace sign for all of you listening. But I want this to be something that takes us in the step where the Spread Love Army isn't just a movement, but it's a nonprofit. I want to try and in 5 years from now, I want the Spread Love Army to be raising money for whatever reason. That's the whole thing with me working with these other nonprofits right now is I don't know where I want to go with this. I don't know what I want to do with this. So I'm going to work with the ones that have it figured out and know what they're doing a little bit. So the Ronald McDonald Foundation is my introduction to that realm of nonprofits and ways to use money to help benefit people. So that's where I see this going. The Spread Love Army, I want this to be something that is bigger than me telling people to love each other. I want it to be something that's giving back and doing something good for something bigger,
I think ISIS is a nonprofit.
ISIS?
Non-profit? PROPHET? Non-profit. That was bad. I'm sorry.
I love the typo negative reference, though, like the Prophets of Doom.
Oh,
With the
yeah.
F.
I only just kind of recently started listening to Typo. Like, I totally missed the boat on them, and I'm like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah,
why
I
not?
grew up
so
with
good.
them. But actually, my wife. Here's a funny story for a podcast.
I love those.
All right, I've been married for like 2005, that long.
Too long.
14 years. And I used to think it was fine to put scat porn as a screensaver for our computer at home.
And then you had children.
So, oh no, my son's only 4.
So you still do it.
So,
That's
yeah.
what that means.
So this is like 10 years ago when this happened. So my wife thought it would be funny to put Peter Steele's Playgirl
Nice.
pictures as a screensaver.
Naked man, you gotta
And
love
his
it.
dick's like 12 inches long. Dude. It's like,
That's why his voice is so low.
No.
Gets all the power from his dick.
my girlfriend's girl, like it's a giant dick.
I can't wait to tag my friend Julia in this episode because she loves typo. And I just saw a meme the other day. Shame on me because I never remember the album cover or the album name, but it's the album where it's like the 2 women like
Bloody kisses.
yeah, bloody kisses. Somebody recreated that, but it was with cats. So it was like
That's
2
awesome.
cats that are kind of like brushing their faces up in the same way, and it's just the
And we
it's like
actually-
the exact angle of that album
hilarious.
cover. It was like, oh my god.
I used to love their like. I've seen them like 5 times live, and they were
Oh, you're
brilliant.
lucky. Yeah, they're on around.
Because like remember they come out and like everyone would chant "You suck, you suck," and they'd come out like, "I know we suck, but you paid money for this shit," and like it was always hilarious. Like I always see weird bands at weird times. Like I seen Mr. Bungle their last tour. Like,
Really?
yeah, like I see weird ass bands on weird times.
Do you have like a particularly weird, insane show story that you just
Not
you know,
too crazy. I'm kind of spoiled because my first 2 shows in my life were White Zombie in '94
Damn.
and the Ramones in '95.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
And like so like going from
I
that
was
you're like
born in
fuck.
'94.
And like I see Mr. Bungle in '99 with System of a Down, which was
Holy
awesome.
shit, that would be such a crazy.
that's
It is
awesome.
right to the
show.
California
So
album. It was
awesome.
so good, and like, and Mike Patton's, you know, how great I am as a vocalist is kind of like how Mike Patton's like a lesser of me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I always like consider him as a influence for a while and then a understudy for a while.
Mike Patton. Have you ever listened to Secret Chiefs?
Oh, I
All
love
the
Secret
stuff?
Chiefs.
Yeah.
I love Secret Chiefs. I love Phantom Oz. I love obviously Faith No More and
Yeah, he's in so many
Tomahawk
freaking
and
projects.
that Mondo Kane album is one of my favorites. So that one he did with the Italian orchestra.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Like I think like that's one of the labels we keep sending our demo to and they keep coming back. At Epicec. But actually we didn't send it.
Oh, you should. I mean, why not?
When we
Really.
get better stuff we will.
Are you working on new music?
We
right
actually
now?
are now that we
Just
have two
other
new-
than the fake high school teacher song.
Yeah. Other than now that we have the 2 new band members, we're actually working on more comprehensive. Like it's still the same style. Like we're not going to change, as far as our like attitude.
Mm-hmm.
But not with a drummer because people get turned off with drum machines.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But especially live, especially playing shows of metal bands in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that a lot. Everyone's like,
Well, even in the metal community, because I play drums, and even in the metal community, like the really heavy technical death metal stuff, it's like, oh yeah, but can you play that without triggers? Can you do that for real? And it's
Yeah.
like cheating. You know, they think it's
Yeah.
cheating to do that.
I mean,
It's
our
like,
drummer does use a drum click track whenever I do sequencing stuff.
right,
But
still,
But you can't not do that
right,
because
yeah, it's augmenting.
you don't
their
want to sound like
performance.
shit.
Exactly.
But yeah, like now that we have a drummer, like we're getting way more acceptance than we had. Like this is only like the last 4 months, but like the last 4 months for the last few shows, it's been like a stellar experience because we have the same attitude, same kind of songs, but now with a drummer, where all the metal kids are like, oh, machine's not making that noise. and it's like, that's the only gripe I have about the Pittsburgh scene is the metal community because I like metal and I like a lot of those people in there, but they're very close-minded with a lot of things, and so are a lot of people. I try to stay open-minded, but like, you show up a show and you're like a drum machine. Well, yeah, we don't have a fucking drummer.
Yeah, and I
What do you
know.
want us to fucking do?
And every drummer plays in like 7 bands, so it's very they're pricey real estate.
Yeah, what do you want us to do? Not play music?
Exactly. Yeah, like beggars can't be choosers, that sort of thing. That's fine. I can take full credit for the Pittsburgh metal scene, but
yeah,
either way.
I get it, and I'm fine with it. But it's like, yeah, we don't. But can you like hear? Can you see the forest past the trees? Mm-hmm. Can you check us out? Because we're like spending time making these drum tracks and synth tracks and whatever else we're doing. We're not just like boom, which I thought was funny. And one more thing before I'm gonna cut to Zach, because I feel like he hasn't talked in a while.
I'm listening, baby. I'm listening.
But we thought it would be hilarious to cover a Tool or a Rush song.
Yeah, why not?
Before we had a drummer.
Oh, excellent.
So
YYZ, but without a drummer.
And actually make it like a boom tap, boom tap, boom tap. Why can't we not be sober? That'd be fucking hilarious, because you Rush is all about their drummer. Fucking Tool's all about Danny Carey.
Yep.
Like, and I thought it would be hilarious to cover one of their songs.
Just with a 4 on the floor beat in
just
background, but with lateralis.
And it would be
Is that a demo, or do you have it recorded?
We
Can
don't.
you send it to me? Like,
I'll
do it. Hell, I play drums.
But I think that'd be hilarious just to have like a straight up like bad like 808 track from the 80s, like drum sequence track of a Tool or Rush song. It would piss so many people off.
It would. Well, I can be such a snob about music. I mean, I really try not to be, but I totally know how the metal community in particular can be about that stuff, which is just hilarious.
It's like Ingrid Malmsteen. It's like, remember Mad TV?
Yeah.
Remember Michael McDonald's little kid character?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
I love metal and I love a lot of heavy stuff. But when I hear a lot of that stuff, it's kind of like, look what I can do.
Yeah.
Look what I can do. Not thinking about it. Does it make sense in the song, or does it make sense in music? Period.
I'm gonna be thinking that forever.
It's more
now.
like, look what I can do. Like I can play 100 notes in fucking 20 seconds. Like great, but is it a good song? No.
Josh Hartz taking on the metal elitism. That might be my sound clip for this episode.
But seriously, am I wrong though?
No, you're not at all, and that's where I battle because I love all the weird prog noodle
and I
shit,
like it
and
too.
it's like it doesn't really always sound good. Sometimes it sounds great.
Best band from the 70s is fucking King Crimson and Genesis.
Oh, what's your favorite King Crimson album?
A fucking Discipline.
See, that's the one I don't like, but I
Really?
like Red. I like, but I'm not really a fan. I say that as if I'm a fan. Some of the people that I like know will spread this episode around and be like, she doesn't even like King Crimson, and for the most part, I haven't listened to them enough.
Repair?
I'm just not that familiar with them.
Okay, by Genesis.
I honestly, for a person who calls himself a prog fan, I really need to listen to more Genesis.
Yeah. Foxtrot and Song in about a Pound. Yeah,
I can see the album cover in my head.
Yeah, like that's a necessary, because they're like Pink Floyd with talent. Yeah, I fucking said it.
Peanut Gallery.
And I actually own every Pink Floyd album, and I actually love them. But they're big trick. Delay.
Oh, Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Hit that
Delay.
pedal. Yeah.
This delay. Piper at the Gates of Dawn is my favorite album by
Okay,
them.
so, all right, so this is, I want to give Zach a chance to speak, but I think because you listened to the one Van episode that was very difficult to hear in my intro, so you might not know what my signature question is. Okay. I don't know if Josh does either, but my signature question to wrap up my interviews is always, what 3 albums could you just not live without? If you could only listen to 3 for the rest of your life, what would they be? And Piper at the Gates of Dawn was my friend Katie that I interviewed on episode 2. That was one of her choices.
Oh, really? That's a great album.
Yeah, she was all about the Syd Barrett era of, all that. So 3 albums that you'd have to listen to for the rest of your life, whatever.
I listen to a very different genre of music than everybody in the room.
Any music is, whatever.
Easily number 1.
Whatever moves you.
Are you guys ready for this? You're not
I'm
even ready for this. Usher's Confessions Part 2, or Usher's Confessions album, the whole album, but from start to finish, but specifically Part 2.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's something that high school was summarized by. That's very left field, but I'm a big Panic at the Disco fan. So if ever you can't sweat out, by far I can sing every word to that song, for that whole album. And then third one, it's got to be something Mac Miller to jump back. Macadelic, his new album Swimming is one that really touches me. Honestly, anything Mac Miller for that third spot, but. Panic at the Disco, Usher, and Mac Miller.
You really had those 3 though. Like a lot of people when I ask them this question, are like, ready. I fucking hate this question. I have to think about it. I want to renege on my answer.
I mean, I could sit here all day and ponder. Like, I mean, I definitely like Red Hot Chili Peppers, die-hard Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. But like, to think about those ones that I go to no matter what, like Panic at the Disco's first album, summarized the whole point in my life. Like that was 2005, like middle school on up to freshman year of high school.
That's true.
That
Knowing your
summarizes the
age.
whole life.
Are you a Brendan Urie solo fan though? I mean, the dude has a great voice. He really does.
I mean, what are we summarizing as solo? He's been featuring on a lot of stuff, but like, do you consider once like the band fell off? Like,
well,
later in the album
didn't he
careers?
put out his own album like last year? I think like under his name.
I didn't hear it if he did.
feel like-
I know that he is the only original member of Panic at the Disco.
At this
left
point,
in
he
Panic
is,
At the Disco.
yeah.
So like you can kind of technically say that the new current Panic at the Disco stuff is solo Brendan Urie, if you want to make the argument. But I haven't heard anything originally by him. I don't know if he has a self.
No, he had a really good
album.
album.
I know Death of a Bachelor was one most recent, but that was under Panic at the Disco as well.
It might not be on Spotify anymore, but he had a really good solo album like last year. I thought it was anyway. But Josh, is he running the bathroom?
No.
That looks like a movie.
Can I ask you this last question
Yes,
before
you
you
can.
do that? What are your last 3 favorite albums?
My 3 favorite albums will probably be Frank Zappa's "We're Only in It for the Money."
Okay.
I love you.
Eugene.
He's
loves
he's
him.
wearing Eugene's wearing a Zappa shirt. He's like all about the Zappa.
I'm gonna say Ministry Twitch
Oh, okay.
before they went. I'm gonna copy off Rob Zombie, and then I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Big Pun's first album.
No way.
Capital
That's
Punishment.
Super out of left field, man.
Huh.
Damn.
Cause I'm all over the place, and I like most good music, and I like a lot of like.
You surprised me with some of the rap, with the,
Like,
like the
I-
old hip hop.
I like hip hop. I just
Yeah.
like, but with all the new stuff, it's like I feel like if I could do it, it's not that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hear a lot of the new shit like I could do that, but like some of that old shit, like the technical, like multi-syllable, like
like rhyme.
there's
scheme.
no fucking way I could do that shit.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
I cannot do a Big Pun verse, but I could probably do a Little Yachty verse.
Or Migos or
I
something.
Yeah.
love that, dude. I love that. This man has surprised me with it. Like, I'm more of a rap, hip hop type of guy myself,
Yeah.
and like he's pulled up some obscure rap songs and hip hop songs where I'm like, man, Josh coming
See,
out.
I
of nowhere
need
with
to
that.
get like educated on that stuff because the only hip hop I tend to enjoy is stuff that has like a sort of jazzy ambient thing going on in the background, like what's his name, Eagle Eye, whatever. God, I'm gonna screw all this up. Aesop.
A$AP
Rock, and like John Bellion's pretty cool too. Like all that
Yeah.
stuff that's more. It's less
It's
about the let me rap about bitches and hoes. And
Yeah,
like,
no,
let me
I'm
talk
more
about
of a
my
lyric
life.
guy myself. I don't
Yeah,
want
Lupe
the bitches and
Fiasco is
hoes.
probably my
Oh
favorite
yeah, oh
rapper in general because the guy can just
man. Definitely.
he can string so much stuff together, and it's like I think so much of my, I guess, aversion to hip hop and rap is just because I'm such a melody based person.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have a tone. I mean, there's some tone, but where I allow myself to enjoy it is stuff like Hobson too, where it's just like
Yeah.
incredibly descriptive rap and hip hop, and I don't really care so much then about like, okay, it doesn't have a verse or it doesn't have a song I could sing along with it, but it tells a really amazing
really
story.
Good story. Yeah, Atmosphere is another one like that.
Oh,
When you
that's
talk about
my
A$AP
friend
Rock.
John talks about Atmosphere all the time. Yeah,
like if
he
you're
loves
talking
him.
about like underground rap and hip hop, like that's definitely up there as well.
Yeah, slugs of
It's
shit.
cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I just surprised you there, didn't I?
Yeah, definitely.
Came back from the bathroom
and
and like,
Ant,
And yeah.
the fucking DJ.
So what would you recommend hip hop wise to a person like me who just barely listens
Me,
to it?
personally?
Yeah, I will either of you. I don't like the cadence of it that much. So
You're
'cause I need the
you're a
melody.
metalhead, right?
I'm a metalhead. I grew up listening to jazz.
Cypress Hill, you got like Cypress Hill, like that's rap, but like that's kind of like in its own realm of rap.
I would
They
say
kinda
I would
branch
say
definitely genres.
like Apathy, R.A. the Rugged Man, like some like really hardcore underground stuff would be like up your alley. Where you're like, wow, that's pretty impressive, and
Yeah.
like they use old school like beats and they do different things. Not in mainstream too much in the last 20 years, but like yeah.
That's the general consensus I get from hip hop. People are like, yeah, anything before like 1996 is great. Like
I would. I mean, that's like you got to look at the obscure stuff. Like, I mean, getting back into Mac Miller because I know that this man has definitely modeled my life. But he has a whole album under the title "Delusional Thomas" that I think would be really up your alley. It's very obscure, very dark, very twisted lyrically, and very just outside of left field when it comes to like rap music.
I never thought I'd be talking about rap on Tapestry, but I gotta get some rappers on. Send people my way because I need to open my mind.
Sikes and then,
Yeah.
Definitely. Sikes is a great breach between metal and rap.
Abstract
That's true.
Theory.
Yeah, I have,
Abstract Theory.
for the
and-
record, I have listened to Sikes and the New Violence, and I'm like, oh, this is hip hop I dig. Like, it's just
for sure.
it's-
He
it's real
makes his
chill.
own lane, definitely.
Abstract Theory is another one in Pittsburgh you might like. Back Alley Sound.
They're all breaching genres.
Yeah, it's a
Abstract
full
Theory
band.
has like the old hip hop style, but like this whole new energy that they bring to it. And then Back Alley is very like indie rock meets rap lyrics. It's very interesting stuff.
Yeah,
These are all local.
fuck the
groups.
Roots. Listen to the Roots.
The Roots are right up there too with jazz.
It's a full band with a rapper.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So that's like
That's Questlove's band,
yeah,
right?
and he's awesome.
As a drummer, that makes
Like
sense.
especially
Pretty
back into like the 90s.
I do
early
like
2000s.
Thundercat a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the man.
Thundercat's
He
great.
worked heavily with Mac Miller on his newest album as well. Like Thundercat, Mac Miller, Kendrick Lamar, those are all in that same realm.
All right,
of,
so
like,
I
jazzy
got a
rap.
toe in the water.
And
but,
Wiz
you know.
Khalifa too.
Yeah, I don't like his stuff, but I
Yeah, I
feel like I
don't-
sort of have to represent him just
Just 'cause
because
he's
he's from
from
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
you
I
know?
seen him like my previous band. We seen him at a fashion show
Are you kidding me?
like before he came up.
But he's like out.
Oh.
He's breaching genres as well. I saw the first time I saw Wiz Khalifa was with Fall Out Boy.
Oh,
like,
wow.
come on.
What?
Like, yeah, he toured with Fall Out Boy.
Well, I
for
mean,
a whole year.
didn't Lil Wayne just drop off that tour with Blink 182? So I
Yeah,
mean, it's
but
kind of
Lil Wayne seems like the type of guy that he's like, I don't like this crowd of people I'm dropping
Yeah,
off.
well, Lil
Wiz
Wayne sounds
Khalifa's
like an
like, I
asshole.
love all people. Let's chill and vibe out, and that's
Yeah.
why like that was such a great tour.
I just remember seeing him like 15 years ago maybe.
Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, like we played a fat. We didn't play actually. We were invited as VIP guests to this fashion show down in the strip somewhere, and he was a feature performer. And we're in the
So
VIP.
weird.
15 years ago. Like,
We were
that's
like, and my band we're in the VIP section because like
he
you
had to
know
been like 16. Like,
yeah,
young as hell.
and the whole set was Pittsburgh.
That's it. That's
That was
entire
the whole entire set. Honestly, God, he's gotten better since then.
15 years ago. Was that 2004?
It was
Yeah.
maybe a little bit after, maybe
Yeah.
2007.
2007 is Prince of the City. Like, I mean, that's all whole Pittsburgh album.
But it was just funny because it was like a local show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say local in this aspect,
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel you though.
but it was like because it was like a
people come together.
Pittsburgh clothing company
Communal thing.
that we got invited to. I think the singer of my band had to wear their shit or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we were invited to the VIP thing, and then it's like Wiz Khalifa. I was like, who the fuck's Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah, sounds
And
like
then
a wizard.
then it was like Pittsburgh. I'm like, oh, that's Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And then since then, I was like, I appreciate him more. I'm not a huge fan of his stuff, but I appreciate him more because
Yeah.
like he's not like
He's putting quality stuff.
he's better than Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Well,
He is. Come on.
it
Man.
depends.
He's from Pittsburgh. It's like Pittsburgh's Lil Wayne.
I could see where you say that. You know, like someone else.
I'm older than you, man.
So he's right.
I was around for Biggie.
Yeah. I mean, that has nothing against me, man.
No,
I'm
nothing
sorry
against
this
you.
man lost his life before I came
Okay.
into
Yeah,
the
screw
world.
you being born in 1994.
Right.
Right.
I'm just saying,
Biggie missed out.
I was around for Biggie and Pac and all that shit.
Do you have a prevailing theory on Tupac's death?
Yes, I did it.
Oh.
You did
Yes,
it. Oh
I
God,
did
hates
it.
unicorns. Josh Hart has
I'm
admitted.
admitting it to her. No, I have no prevailing theory.
How old were you when that happened?
I
Was that 92?
It was a little later than that.
93, 94?
Later than that.
I need to get the Joe Rogan fact checking. Jamie, look that up.
Eugene,
When did Tupac?
Kirk
I don't have a computer.
Cobain died, what, 93, 94? 92?
Yeah.
94.
It was a little bit after. It was like a couple years after that.
September. You guys are all wrong. September 13th, 1996 is when Tupac died.
Told you.
I was close.
Whatever.
I was
You-
close without going over by $1. Price is Right rules.
I remember. I do remember when Kurt Cobain died because there was a girl on my bus crying.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I gave her a shotgun.
Yeah, I told her. Oh man.
I gotta get out to a show because all of your humor this whole episode has been like so offensive and I love it.
Wait
it's
till
like
you go
the
to
best.
a show, man. Like
Yeah.
I've been to God Age Unicorn shows, and they definitely
Well,
hit a certain year.
To bring this back around, then yes, I'm gonna get this edited and out in time for this August 24th event, and I'm gonna do my best to make it and see this happen because this sounds like it's gonna be some pretty rockin' shit.
yeah.
But are there any questions that you guys would have liked to have been asked that I didn't ask, or is there anything else you want to mention before I?
I think you
Wrap it
killed
up.
it. I mean, on my end, personally, you touched everything I was expecting to
Good.
try and hear. You know,
Okay,
you
good.
did very thorough research for sure.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I have no No problems with any questions.
Yeah,
All right,
just
perfect.
come out August 24th for the Versus Series Spread Love Army benefit fundraiser. Let's help Ronald McDonald House together.
I dig it.
Help me
All
get
right.
that new car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Josh is full of crap.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah, thank you guys for reaching out to me for one thing and making this a really fun interview. So I'll do my best to spread the word and go from there.
Awesome.
So, all right. Thanks, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Tapestry. So, given that this is a time-sensitive event, I want every single one of you to go give a like to God Hates Unicorns on Facebook, and also you can look up Zac's artwork under Zac Rutter Art. He also has a website, Zachary Rutter Art. I believe that is Zachary, Zachary with a C. And then make sure, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, that you come out to the Thompson Club in West Mifflin on August 24th, where they're going to be raising money for the Ronald McDonald House. Hope to see you there. And as always, thanks for listening.
Just me, myself, and I. Just me, myself, and I. Now I ain't saying I'm the best, I'm just alright.
Duct tape on my heart like it's working just fine.
Ain't the type to play your games and ain't a fair fight.
Duct tape on my heart like it's working just fine.
Now I ain't saying I'm the best, I'm just alright.
Ain't the type to play games, it ain't a fair